Wrestling with wrestling's past and present.
How old were you?
I was -3.
JR is trying to contain Jim Ross. Do you see any of the aggro crag? Was any of that left over?
No, unfortunately not.
No?
I'm taking some of that home.
God, I hope that storyline ends soon.
And 6 to 8 weeks later, they mail you a freaking magnet.
Yep. Mongo.
Mondo.
Mongo Burger. Welcome to Good Burger. Welcome to Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Just wait. To further the cheap pop, Mick Foley still owes Tim $10.
Just the definition of blue balls and gaga. It's like
That should be a t-shirt. Blue balls and gaga.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Hager kept making out with his wife. It was weird. So then, I'm waiting for them to put the Selena Vega on a pole match.
And I mean, Big E's got Whale performing in his entrance, so I feel like
Wale.
Wale. I don't listen to. Okay, well, I don't listen to him, so I apologize to Wale.
This is in the mail, my good sir. No, it wasn't.
Giving us a reason to come here and listen to ourselves talk.
Absolutely.
And then you can listen to us too.
Strap on and balls, only on Wrestling Past and Present.
This is Gangrel, the Vampire Warrior, and you're listening to Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
This is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present. I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Fulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And today we're going back to 1997, kind of the early stages of the Attitude Era. We are talking about In Your House 16 Canadian Stampede.
This was I don't want to say it was like a great show because it really was. I mean, it was a good show, don't get me wrong. But this is kind of like refreshing, a quick like 2-hour format. You don't have to feel like, I mean, it feels like a chore sitting through Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, a 3-hour show. So that was pretty refreshing. But it was cool to go back in that time because it was, right as Austin was kind of catching fire. It was right when, the Hart Foundation reformed. There was a lot of stuff happening at this time in the WWF.
Right. Yeah, no, we always talk about when we get to the 97, 98 era that it's the peak, it's the beginning, it's the height of the Attitude Era, whatever you want to call it. But this was the seeds of what was going to come and, what was going to be that 3-4 year stretch where they found their identity, they found their groove. And, I know Dave Meltzer, Tim had mentioned a few episodes ago that this was one of his highest rated pay-per-views. I can see why, too, because from a storytelling perspective, this was a fantastic show. I mean, I always mark out for In Your Houses anyway, because first of all, the sets are always fucking cool, and then they usually always had some sort of iconic match where they had the Buried Alive matches, whether you had the one we covered earlier in the archives, the DX In Your House, whether it's Rock Bottom, and they were cheaper. So, back in the day, you weren't dropping $50 to watch this show. You were dropping maybe $20. So it was easy to go, hey, Mom, can I order the pay-per-view? How much is it? It's $20. Sure, if it'll keep you fucking quiet.
Yeah, I mean, I the storylines that kind of developed after this or during this pay-per-view were, some of the most iconic ones in history. So I think this is a really significant pay-per-view that probably gets overlooked a little bit, but it's definitely a good show. Not that, like I said, it's a short show, so not that many matches to discuss. There is one match on the free-for-all show. It's the Godwins against the New Blackjacks, which was Blackjack Bradshaw and Blackjack Wyndham. The Godwin's going to get a win about 5.5 minutes, and this is one of the many gimmicks that Bradshaw had that never worked.
I'm happy this is on the free show because
yes.
It's probably hot garbage. Like
yeah.
This match probably would have like made the card like just suck. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those like ones that can bring the whole card down because the match was that bad.
Roland's got his top guy shirt on, but I can tell you this match didn't feature any fucking top guys. I mean, JBL maybe for a while, but I agree with you both. This just seems like something that would have been like, yeah, I'm already tapping out. This is like when they were going to review that show from the early 80s, 90s, and Tim tapped out before they got through the second match.
Yep.
So,
oh no, he made it through more than that. He made it through like halfway through the show, and he's like, guys, this sucks. Like,
well, there's like 100 matches on their card, and they're all like 30 seconds long, and it's like same thing over and over again. Oh man. The actual pay-per-view starts off with Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley with China, and Mankind. The match ends in a double count out. I mean, this was great. This is, last week we talked about how Triple H was kind of in the doghouse after the curtain call incident, and that led to Austin becoming King of the Ring. Well, this fast forward a year later, Triple H is kind of out of that doghouse. He won the King of the Ring earlier in '97. So, I mean, this really started a good feud with Mankind. I thought this was a great match. I like the ending because it makes it easy to continue the feud where they just brawl all over the place. And it's throughout the show, during the other matches, they keep brawling. They go outside. Triple H gets bloodied. So I really thought they did a really good job to continue this feud in the future. I also think they made Chyna look really good here because she was involved a lot in this match. And I think, she did come across as that really strong bodyguard type. So I really think she looked good. And I think this is really well done.
Tim just said Chyna looks good and had a strong body. I just want to point that out.
Tim had a crush on Chyna. No, everything you said, I 100% agree with. It was pretty cool to have them like brawling for like half the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's refreshing to think of the blue blood aristocrat Triple H, the version of him as he's starting to transition to the DX Triple H. And that period of time, and then when he essentially took over DX and kind of found his own after Shawn left, you could just see going back and watching this how like ready he was at this time to like branch out and be that guy.
Yeah, this is the perfect like stuck with the wrong gimmick for the wrong kind of wrestler. When he 95, 96, when he was doing the even Mankind making fun of him doing the little like prim and proper bow, being from Greenwich, Connecticut, nose up in the air, even though it's a big ass nose to be in the air. That he just, like you said perfectly, he was ready. This match also was like the first of many Triple H Mankind matches that would just be fire. There's a reason why they had, no pun intended. There was a reason why they had their iconic, matches all the way to the 2000s when he retired Mick Foley. But they were brutalizing each other, and that you could tell, like, it was definitely the theme tonight. They were just beating the shit out of each other. And I don't know if that's because they were in Canada, and Stampede Wrestling was known for, potatoing people, and Owen Hart and Bret Hart and Jericho, everyone who's kind of gone through that, territory, always talked about how they would have black eyes and bruises. And if you didn't wrestle. And you can see, like, at one point, like, Mick Foley just full on hip checking him into the corner, and Triple H's head bouncing off the turnbuckle going forward. Chyna doing the world's worst nut shot to Mick Foley where she tries to pull him into the turnbuckle, but she clearly doesn't pull him. So he like pulls himself, but the camera cuts because it just looks terrible. But then she makes up for it when Triple H fucking blasts him with a chair after she hits him. So like you said, then they were just brawling backstage, brawling through the crowd during the Taka Michinoku match. Like, it was great. It was entertaining, and it definitely told a good story that made Triple H look more than just a snooty person. It looked at him like, okay, he can fucking go.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a great way to start the pay-per-view, and definitely, led to many great matches between the two in the future. Next up is the singles match. You have the great Sasuke getting a win over Taka Michinoku in 10 minutes here. So, this is the time where, they're obviously in the heart of the Monday Night Wars. WCW has the Cruiserweight division, which is kind of a main attraction of WCW at the time. So WWE tried to counter that with the light heavyweight division. So Taco is one of the first guys they try to introduce. I believe he was the first light heavyweight champion winning that tournament. So this was kind of like a preview of things to come for the light heavyweight division, sort of. The light heavyweight division kind of sucked. But this I thought was a solid match. I don't know if the WWF audience really knew who these guys were, because I don't think WWF embraced the Japan wrestling culture where WCW did. So I think it might have been a little disconnect with the audience there, but I thought the match was really solid.
And these two have history. So Taka's finishing move was a Michinoku driver. And for those who don't know, it wasn't named after Taka Michinoku. In truth, it gets its name from the innovator, the great Sasuke. All right, stay with me. Are you confused? Well, I'm reading this right from a little write-up. Sasuke originally competed under the name Masa Michinoku. When Taka Michinoku began wrestling in Japan, he adapted the Michinoku name in a homage to Sasuke. So not only did a Michinoku driver not actually be Taka, but the guy he was facing was the one that invented the Michinoku driver, and he kind of looked up to him. So like knowing that history, that makes that match even cooler in my opinion. And like you said, Tim, I think WWE audience at the time didn't really know what to do with it.
No, definitely. And, like Tim said at the beginning of this, WCW is known for the cruiserweight division, and they were trying to, have that copycat league. And they just, like you just said too, Roland, they just couldn't really figure out where to put them on the cards, but it was entertaining. I mean, Emily watched this match with me, and she was like, make sure you talk about this match. It's really good. Because she doesn't, really watch a lot of these. She watched more like the 2004 on was when she started. But, seeing them go, just seeing how fluid Taka was. And then I didn't really know much about the great Sasuke. Like, I didn't really remember him because I think he was in WWE for like a cup of coffee. Taka was there until a certain incident, which, hold on.
Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
So for those who can't see it, Taka essentially broke his face at the Royal Rumble 2000 when he gets thrown out. And I had to add a little sound effect there to make it, more worth it. But he did that same bump in this match. Did you notice? Like, there's one point where Sasuke, I don't know if I'm saying his name wrong. I'm sorry. He's outside the ring, and he goes and he moves and he puts his hands down. So I'm wondering. I'm like, wait, was that what he was trying to do when Gangrel threw him out at the Rumble? Was he trying to put his hands down, but just kind of forgot? Like, nope, and just full on like face planted to the ground. But it's just crazy to see that's essentially the lasting image that people know Taka is. If you ask anyone, they're like, "Oh yeah, he broke his face at the Royal Rumble." Like I hate to, that's his career highlight in WWE. And it's a shame because this match was fantastic. But I had to get that clip to pop you guys because I saw that. I'm like, oh my god, he did the bump again. I got to find that clip. I got to send it because it's just. I think we did it when we did the 2000 show. I don't care. Every time we talk about him, if I have to have that clip, I will.
Next up is the singles match for the WWF title. It's The Undertaker going to retain against Vader with Paul Bearer. Speaking of what?
Potatoes.
The match goes about 12 and a half minutes. This is, building up to the debut of Kane, which will be later on in the year where Kane debuts at Bad Blood. We cover that show in the archives. So Paul Bearer recently turned on The Undertaker in 96. So he's aligned himself with Vader in this instance. I thought this match was really good. I think they kept it short enough where it didn't go too long. I thought the timing was good. Vader and Undertaker, I thought had good chemistry here. Kind of a cool finish where Vader goes for the Vader bomb. Undertaker low blowed him. And that's the thing too. There was a lot of low blows in this broadcast.
And there's no disqualification.
There's no disqualification.
Tim White and Vince McMahon's like, oh, they're letting him go. They're letting him go. It's like he watched him punch him in the nuts.
Yeah.
Can we point out how ridiculous they all looked in their hats?
I know.
Vince McMahon with that like 33-gallon cowboy hat. I'm just like 3.3 million hush money, but still, like he just looked absolutely fucking ridiculous. It looked like that Who Shot JR. Like I don't know if that's what he's going for, and like it's just I don't know. And then I'm so glad his commentary is gonna be over soon because I hate this main commentary. I know people love it, but all he does is fucking yell. Like
welcome everyone to In Your House 16 Canadian Stampede.
And I love when he corrects people though, when like he clearly wants to no sell something. Like there's a pretty famous promo where Bob Backlund's calling out Diesel, but he calls him Kevin Nash. And it's before we know it's Kevin Nash. And I'll never forget this promo. So Bob Backlund's like, and Kevin Nash. And Shawn Michaels is like, huh, who's that guy? And then Vince is like, just drop it. Like he literally is just like super quiet on that. So, and I was waiting for something like that. That's the only thing I want from Vince. I just want your like sarcastic shut up. I don't want your, like you said, welcome to Monday night. Or something. He's taking a dump and he's just constipated.
What a maneuver.
Maybe
still reach around with a teepee. But no, as far as the match, I really want to complete.
Hey boss, I heard you were in the stall and there was no toilet paper.
Could you use a hand? My hand?
My sock. If you need more, I have a tie. I already used my left sock earlier in that same stall.
That's probably stuck to the inside of his drawer.
Man, Man, your body looks good.
So, anyways, going back to the match, Vader goes for Vader Bomb. There's a low blow, a couple of choke slams, and a tombstone. Later, The Undertaker retains. Like I said, really solid match between two big guys, but I thought they had great chemistry. I also really liked the facial expressions of Paul Bearer throughout the match. I thought that was really good.
Speaking of that, there was a spot in there when JR goes, "Well, I don't know when. I don't think you can hide very successfully when you're 400 pounds." And Jerry Lawler's like, "Oh, you should know."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Percy Pringle should not do blonde hair. I forgot how bad that hair tie looked. Like without the mustache, clean shaven, it's just not a good look, Paul. Not a good look. But I agree. You know, I'm a big Vader Marcus. People know who listen, and you know, from our posts, I think he's obviously one of the best big men of all time. So glad he finally got his fucking Hall of Fame induction that he deserves. So it's kind of cool to see that they both went the Hall of Fame this year, and then we get to see this match too. So it's kind of cool to see that two legit Hall of Famers who went at the same time.
So Mongo literally was talking to Paul Bearer as if A, he listened, and B, he was still alive to hear the comment.
One of his sons is not the one who sold the ring. I think he's dead too, but one of his sons is alive.
And so I have another little nugget about Vader.
His hair looked like a nugget because it was cool.
Yeah. Upon joining New Japan Pro Wrestling, Leon White was given the ring name Big Van Vader and began to wear a black wrestling mask. His new identity was based on a strong warrior of the same name from Japanese folklore.
Yeah, that's when he got really fucking brutal.
Yeah, in case you were wondering where the Vader name came from, that's where it came from. Obviously, they dropped the Big Van. He was still Big Van Vader in WCW for a while, but when he came to WWE, they kind of dropped that. So. And
see, that's kind of what I like. It's kind of like I like when WCW did that. Like when they came from New Japan or they came from All Japan, they would keep their same identity. Vince always had that obsession. Like, no, I don't care that he's Big Van Vader all around the world. He's just fucking Vader here. And like whatever, people call him Vader anyway, but it just doesn't make sense that they can't keep their identity that's already established because obviously he wants to own that IP. But to me, Big Van Vader sounds cooler than Vader because Vader just sounds like you're ripping off Star Wars when you just see it in print. Like if you have a casual fan and they see Vader, like, oh, was that a fucking Darth Vader character coming out? How fucking original. Like, you know that's what someone who doesn't know wrestling is going to say. Unless they watch Boy Meets World, then they know exactly who he is.
He's on mute.
I was gonna let him go.
Let's not bring up Fred Savage. Let's leave him or Ben.
No, that's his. No, Ben's fine. His older brother. That's the creep.
Fred, right? Fred Savage, right?
Ben was on Boy Meets World. Fred was on.
Okay. All right. So okay. Well, either way.
Well, it's still. I mean, come on. Mick Foley was on there too, which you owe Tim $10. Which hey. What is it with interest now? We're up to like 15 now. I feel like we should just round it to 15.
Yeah, I think so.
It's been almost 2 years. It's closer to 2 years.
You can't tell me that Mick couldn't open his wallet and be like, "Here's 20."
He was in New Hampshire. He was near Tim's house. He was at Santa's Village. It's like 2 hours away.
Yep.
It's New Hampshire's goddamn fucking Disney World. It's Santa's Village and Storyland. Ain't much fucking else to do.
Don't forget about Clark's Trading Post.
Is that bear still alive?
Barely.
Oh man.
No bears were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Next up, it's the main event. It's a 10-man tag team match. You have the Hart Foundation, which is Bret Hart, Brian Pillman, the British Bulldog, Jim Neidhart, and Owen Hart, going against Ken Shamrock, Goldust, Legion of Doom, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So this was kind of a unique storyline going on because in America, the Hart Foundation are the heels and Austin is the face, but they're in Canada here, so the roles are reversed. Which is kind of an interesting dynamic. You don't get to see it too often. I guess if Impact went to, or TNA in 2006 went to Canada, Team Canada would be over, but
I don't think they'd even be over in Canada.
Yeah, probably not.
You can't compare Team Canada to the fucking Hart Foundation.
No.
That's you have like every member of the Hart Foundation rolling in their graves besides Brett if you're going to compare Team Canada to them. I'm just throwing it out.
Well, that's that I was gonna make that point later. Like a lot, like most of these guys are not even with us anymore, which is kind of crazy to think about. I mean, Brett's the only one of the Hart Foundation alive, and then lost both the Legion of Doom. But it was a really good match. It was a little chaotic at times, which is kind of to be expected with the amount of people in this match. I liked how they got the Hart family involved. Stu and Helen were there. Stone Cold kind of goes after them, and that causes a roll up. Owen Hart rolls up Steve Austin to get the win for the Hart Foundation. So a little convoluted at times, but I think what made this match so special was the storyline dynamic where the heels and faces kind of role reversed. And I think that's what is most special about this match. But I thought it was good for as far as the 10-man tag goes. I thought it was really real solid, and you have a lot of great workers in this match. So I thought it was a good main event.
This is the type of match that if it happened on TNA, we would shit all over it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was so convoluted, so messy at times. But back in the day, it was kind of, especially with the being in Canada and the Hart Foundation being like so over, it wasn't as bad as like your typical TNA match, thankfully. But this was chaos. There was a lot going on, and most times you had the 27 members of the Hart family in the front row getting involved at one point, and then like I said, it wasn't bad by any means, but it definitely was very chaotic, I guess would be the best way to put it.
So, fun fact: did you guys spot TJ Wilson and Natalia come in the ring? So, at the end when they're all celebrating, if you look closely, you can see Natty go over towards Neidhart, and you can see TJ Wilson. So you can see basically young TJ and Natty.
Oh, wow.
I noticed that, like, oh hey, it's Natalia, only because she looks the same, like just younger. And TJ Wilson, he also has that face, like he looks like his dad. He looks like it.
So to quote my buddy Brian, she looks the same without the giant milk cannons.
Yeah,
throwing that out there.
I mean, would they really be milk cannons if she purchased them?
Brian, he literally said that. He was like, "Yeah, those milk cannons," and I'm like, it popped me. It was one of those things where I was like, "Okay."
What's funny is you said, Roland, about the whole Team Canada and whole TNA and everything like that. I was literally thinking tonight when I was finishing this, because I had to watch this earlier tonight. I was like, damn, if this is essentially Team Canada, like a Team Canada, like if this was Team Canada versus Team USA and TNA, where it's like a fucking 10-man match, we'd literally be like, this is terrible. Like, why are we watching this? But like you both stated so eloquently, it's the Hart Foundation in Calgary versus essentially the most over baby faces. You have the LOD, Stone Cold. Goldust was mega hot at this time. This was when he was getting really ready to switch more to that jobber, but he was going to start his feud with, I believe he had Triple H coming up in about a year. Didn't he do Triple H in 98, 99? So,
well, I think he was going to do stuff with Pillman first.
Well, yeah, Pillman wouldn't be around much longer, unfortunately. But I mean, you went from him having the Razor feud in early 95, 96. Then the one we talked about last year, where he made out with Ahmed Johnson against his will. So it's kind of cool to see that he still at least got to shine a little in the match, even though he was a Goldust character. And then it's just always so eerie to see, like you guys said, just how many of them aren't with us. Like seeing Brian Pillman, like, oh, that's sad. Owen Hart, like, oh, there's only 2 more years left until he's gone. Anvil, we just lost, a few years ago. And it's just like Dave Boy Smith, we lost early 2000s. So it's like, holy crap, we lost so many legends and they look so young, even only a few years before their death. Like, not to get all weird on you guys, but, being in your 30s, I don't know about you guys, when you go back and you look at this and you see people like, oh yeah, they're 34. You're like, Jesus. And they died a few years later. Like, that's so sad to think about.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, not this match, the title match, both Paul Bear and Vader are gone. And I guess that's about it for the card, but still a lot of, Tim White, who refereed a couple matches, just passed away. So, definitely, it's hard to look back, and it wasn't all that long ago this pay-per-view took place, and a lot of these guys aren't even with us anymore.
Did you see Earl Hebner beating the shit out of that fan?
No.
one of the times that they were in the crowd trying to separate Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Mankind, the guy like pushed him, and then Earl Hebner was like, I'm like, Earl Hebner just freaking beat that guy's ass. It's like, all right.
So, what are you guys thinking for a rating? Because I have a pretty high number with this one. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I'll go with an 8, I think. I think just because it did really well with advancing storylines and starting storylines. And I really don't think there was a bad match. Like, there wasn't like a clunker in this one. So I'm going to give it an 8.
So I'm going to rate it about the same, but I'm going to rate it that way because of the storytelling. Because to me, the Vader Undertaker match wasn't a good match at all. It was okay, but it was the story. And the Hunter Hearst Helmsley Mankind thing, the way that kept going throughout the show, that helped it a lot. The match itself was pretty good, but like Mongo mentioned earlier in the show, the storytelling was like on point in this show, and that's why it's rated so high. I wouldn't say even the 10-man tag, the wrestling in that match was less than stellar, but the storytelling was fantastic. So yeah, 7.5, 8, somewhere in that range. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, see, I was thinking 8 as well. I was thinking of the old snowman. Like you said, Roland, and I said earlier, the storytelling. But another point for me that really hit home is because, like Tim mentioned at the top of the show, it was only 2 hours. So the weakness of WWF at this time was their undercard for a while was kind of underwhelming and lackluster. So it kind of didn't expose, the pre-show having the Godwins on it. It didn't really expose that, mid to lower tier card that they had issues with. The people who were on this show were in their spots for that reason. You could argue Taka's spot because it was a showcase match, but you take away the Taka match, everyone on this card deserved to be on this card. And like you said, we said the storytelling, the pacing was good. It didn't feel like it was a slog. Like there wasn't a match where you're like, dang, that was 10 minutes too long, or that was 15 minutes too long. And it felt like something that you could sit down and watch. So I recommend watching the whole thing. I mean, 25 years old, it's a really good card. Advances storylines, and again, it really sets up that generation of the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression Era. It really sets up that bridge. You see the future stars that were building back then. Kind of what's missing from wrestling today. That Tony Khan's trying to do it, but he's still learning. But when you had these storylines and you put people out there, you tried to see what would stick, and then you rode. Like, all right, Triple H, Mankind, like they had chemistry. Triple H is a ring general. Mankind can go with anyone. They rode that storyline. Vader, unfortunately, his career kind of teeter-tottered, but Undertaker, I mean, you don't have to say words. You could put him in the ring with a potato sack, and he would have a good match. So, and that's what I think this card showed, was that you had all these icons, and then the Hart Foundation, the most iconic thing in Canada. How can you not like that? And my last question for Tim, though, what hockey team did Triple H and Mankind, they clearly ran into the truck? What hockey team was that?
The Calgary Flames.
Thank you. I just want to make sure.
I'm a hockey aficionado.
I wasn't sure.
You said that, I was like, well, I got the answer if Tim doesn't.
All right, Tim, what's the greatest hockey movie of all time, and why didn't you say Slapshot?
The greatest hockey movie of all time? I would go with Miracle, but that's the only one I've seen. So.
I would go with any of the Mighty Ducks.
Well, that's great for comedy, but like I don't know. And if you have Slapshot, I think it's up there, but I haven't seen Miracle yet, but I know what it's about, obviously.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you've seen it.
Wow, I've seen some movies.
If it's a song, I have no doubt about that. The song, who wrote it. If it's a movie, I'm usually just like, odds are in the favor that he's seen a scene of it, or Carly watched it and he saw it.
Yep, pretty much. So that's our rundown of In Your House Canadian Stampede. I mean, we have a little bit of time. We want to discuss anything else or get on out here early?
Well, so I was thinking to fill a little bit of time, we can have Mongo kind of give a rundown of the Forbidden Door show. I know he watched it and he was very high on it. So if he wants to give us some takeaways and stuff on that, that would be good, because I honestly, had there been a more build-up by AEW, and I feel like AEW dropped the ball a little bit, and it was kind of so close to their last pay-per-view that it was hard to do.
I think that's the mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, if there'd been a little more build up, I would have been more interested because I didn't know who I'd heard the names and whatever, but I didn't know who half these people were, and I wasn't going to spend $50 to buy a show that, you know, and from all accounts, it seems like it was a fantastic show.
And I think what's good is they learned from the Ring of Honor card to not have the matches just be AEW dominating one company. So because that was, you know, the fear going in of a lot of people was it was going to be AEW kind of squashing New Japan talent. But like you said, because they had Double or Nothing right there, they had to focus builds on Double or Nothing. So they couldn't really overly saturate. So then they went into like ramp up mode. So it was hard because with New Japan, they have so many names that you might know the names, but you don't know their motives. You don't know if they're a heel, if they're a face, why, like what the history is, unless Excalibur is snorting his third line of Coke and reading you the lineup in 35 seconds. I'm going to be realistic. Have you heard him talk? It's almost like, we got Basham Hiroki, Goto versus Yoshihashi, Lance Archer, Nick Hammer over Swerve, Keith Lee, and next guy. It was like, Jesus, I heard like one thing you said.
I know somebody that would love that. No pauses at all.
Oh, man. That's definitely
it's creamy, all right.
Oh shit! Sorry, I just dropped a plastic spoon.
Wait, so Mongo was talking about like regular spoons earlier. Now he's talking about plastic ones. You can't heat up the plastic ones, Mongo. That doesn't work. Like, I don't know.
I know. What in the world of plastic cutlery was I thinking?
What in the world? What in the world?
But no, yeah. There's probably two people that know what that is referencing.
Yeah, you two.
But you know, in all seriousness, I mean, so it started out with a pre-show, which that's on YouTube. Surprisingly, was really good. Lance Archer gonna fucking win. Lance Archer gonna win. Like I didn't think I'd see the day. Then you know you had Swerve in Our Glory, which is a terrible fucking name. Which is Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, and they defeated Suzuki Gun, which is Desperado, and I'm not even gonna try and butcher this name, Yoshinobu. So that was kind of a so-so match. It was more just showcase Swerve and Keith Lee. But then the one that I really enjoyed in the pre-show was obviously is the Gun Club, and you know Max Caster coming out. You know, just I can't stand the Ass Boys. Jesus Christ, I just butchered their names.
The Ass Guns.
Daddy ass.
I think we're gonna go with Ass Guns now because I kind of like that. But I'm just sick of seeing them wrestle. It's just nepotism. I don't really care. They're decent, but they're not that good in the ring. Like to me, they're not a feature tag team. They're literally the Smoking Guns 2.0. They just they're funny, but that's it. And like I know you had like Danhausen get involved and they're defeating LA Dojo. It was more just a comedy, but I'm over the Smoking Guns 2.0. I love Max Caster and Bowens. I'm glad Bowens is better because the Acclaimed, I think they're a great team. I think they're very talented. I think them a Private Party should be pushed over the fucking Ass Boys, personally. But then you actually get the main card itself. You have Minoru Suzuki versus Jericho and Sammy Guevara. And then with them defeating Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta. I thought it was a decent match. They got the advantage for Blood and Guts, obviously, by beating them. Sammy Guevara looked fantastic in the match. And Wheeler Yuta, I don't care what people say, he definitely is a star. He can go. He's a Mac technician, and you can tell he just loves to get fucking hit. And that was what's great about this show is New Japan wrestlers work fucking stiff. So these people were taking some shots. Even Jericho was letting them lay in. Like he was laughing. There's one point where friggin' Eddie Kingston hits Jericho. He's just like taking it on his chest and he's smiling. It's like you can tell he's having fun. And I think that's what kind of helped set the tone. Jericho went out first. He delivered a great match with his team and went follow that. And I think because they had the momentum going into Blood and Guts, we knew that the Mystery Man was going to come out. I think that kind of helped get us ready because then you had, honestly, one of my matches of the night, which was FTR winning the IWGP tag titles and retaining the ROH titles. An absolute fucking banger. I hadn't seen a lot of matches with United Empire. That's right. The Revival, top guys. Roland's got his shirt right there. It's yellow, unlike Pro Wrestling Tees fucking black shirts.
That's one of the main reasons why I bought it. Not that I don't like FTR, but I was like, hey, it's not fucking black. Awesome.
So you had Roppongi Vice, which is basically best friends with Rocky Romero. And then you had United Empire, Grado Kong, and Jeff Cobb. Grado Kong right now, if you don't follow him on Twitter, it's the funniest shit you'll ever see. He literally was in Vegas having his best life. He was riding a giant penis at some bar. It was like a mechanical bull, but it was a penis. He's in a hot tub with random prostitutes. Like, I don't know what his life's like, but that dude's living his best life. And then Jeff Cobb, he kind of reminds me of Rhino. Like, that's the best way. He's built like Rhino, looks like Rhino, wrestles like Rhino. So they definitely
smells like Rhino, probably.
I mean, I've never smelt Rhino, so I don't know.
That's why I said probably.
But FTR put on a clinic, and what's great is they all have similar styles, where it's not like they're all flippy dippy or high flying. They could all wrestle at the mat, so it was great because FTR kind of called the match, and you could tell that they were going to go over, but there was enough false finishes in the match where you really thought maybe Roppongi Vice actually had it. Like, there was one where Dax Harwood got his shoulder up at the last second, and I was like, holy crap, I thought they would give it to Roppongi. Like, because that's the great thing about AEW, you don't know which way they're going to go. But I was like, I think I'm really going to give them the Ring of Honor and IWGP. Nope, that's why it's 7-star FTR, baby. You know, they come out on top, and so now they have the AAA titles, the ROH titles, the IWGP titles. Watch out, Good Brothers, because they're going to come for those fucking Impact titles, and they're going to just be dripping in gold and tell Vince to suck their dick because you don't need to, like Roland posted, you don't need to shave the backs anymore because right now they're carrying company on their back. Like, they're carrying this division, in my opinion. And then you have, unfortunately, Pac defeated Clark Connors and Miro Malachi for the All-Atlantic Championship. I know why Pac went over. It made sense because, you know, he's an AEW original, essentially. Might as well finally give him a belt. But I think it should have been Miro. I think that would have just been kind of helped to really help legitimate. He already had the TNT title. Why not give him the next title? He can wrestle in New Japan. He can wrestle different styles. He can kind of help make that title mean something. You know, certain people like to point out, oh, Japan's in the Pacific. It's just they tried to kind of cover it. It's because it's wrestled in the Atlantic. They have to come to wrestle in the Atlantic or in the Atlantic area. So I guess that's their little way of doing it. But I was really sorry.
So do they have to wrestle in the ocean?
That'd be pretty fun. I mean, hey, the Jericho Cruise is coming up, so. One cool thing I want to point out, I didn't know anything about Clark Connors, and Roland made the joke last week, who the fuck's that guy? I didn't know either. Hella impressed me. He looked really good in the match. He kind of reminded me of Matt Riddle. Like, he just had fun out there. Without the stoner aspect of it. Like, there's one point where he spears Miro through a table, but he does it so fluidly, it's believable. And the crowd just loved him. Like, I don't think they really knew him at first. So this crowd was definitely a mix of New Japan AEW fans. I don't think
that fast break again.
What's wrong with the fast break?
I just asked you what it was.
They're delicious, Timothy.
Yeah.
But I like that.
And we continue on with the Mongo show now.
Well, you know, I'm trying to run through as quick as I can. And then you have dudes with attitude.
Trying to fucking please my mom here. Like, come on, man. You don't have to just like we're at 37 minutes or so. I mean, I know that things are a little different, but like, you don't have to be Excalibur going through the freaking show here.
All right. So we have dudes with attitudes that came up after, which is Darby Allin, Sting, and Shingo Takagi. Takagi. Tim, this is why you do this because this is just hard. They basically beat Bullet Club, which was El Phantasmo and the Young Bucks, with Huki Leo outside the ring.
Which, for people who don't know, that's Haku's son.
Which is pretty cool. Like,
whatever.
I think it's cool. I mean, unlike Rocky Johnson, who fathered like 11 more Bloodline members that are about to get signed.
There you go, like this now.
Did you guys just to pause? Did you guys hear about that shit? Like that they were doing like a 23andMe and like they found each other. Like, wait a minute, they all found each other on Facebook. Like, wait, we're related. Shit, we're related to The Rock.
We're rich now.
I watched that Young Rock show because it's on Peacock. Because hey, we already have to pay for it for this. They don't portray Rocky Johnson as they portray him like as like the saint. Like all the stories I used to read here, like Rocky Johnson didn't seem like he was Like he got blackballed from the industry. I don't know if you guys know that. Like he invited a 12-year-old girl to his hotel room. Allegedly, I'll say that because I won't get sued. But he allegedly invited a 12-year-old girl to his hotel room to play strip poker. And everyone was like, ugh, ugh.
So we don't need The Rock coming after us with his lawyers. So
that's why I think allegedly, excuse me. So I mean, now he's allegedly father like 115 different children across Canada. It's like that Vince Vaughn movie, The Delivery Man. Tim, if you have seen that, it's okay. That movie's fucking
I've seen
terrible.
some of it.
Really? That movie sucks.
hey,
and Vince Vaughn just does this the whole time. He juggles nuts. Like
I watched the whole fucking Master of Disguise movie, and that movie fucking sucked some major ass. So like,
is that the one where Dana Carvey's like, I'm a turtle.
Yeah.
That movie's terrible.
I saw it in theaters when it first came out on a Saturday. It came out on Friday. Me and my buddy were the only two people in that fucking theater. No joke. Like, I'm not even making that up. Like that, there was two of us at a matinee show the day after that fucking movie came out. If you look at it on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm gonna look it up right now. Last time I looked, I feel like it was at like single digits. I'm looking right now.
That's a terrible movie.
Yeah, bad. Master of Disguise. Here we go. Let's see. Where's the Rotten Tomatoes thingy? Let's see. Here we go. So on IMDb, it's 3.3 stars out of 10.
That's 3% too high.
Yeah. I need to find the Rotten Tomatoes thing because
it's like Morbius. Everybody's telling me to see Morbius now.
Rotten Tomatoes, sorry, 1% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm not even making that up. This movie was horrible. Horrible.
It was definitely not good.
Oh.
It's almost like that awful Mystery Man movie that came out. Remember, like the fake superheroes?
God, that was bad too.
So Tim, again, if you haven't seen those movies, you get a pass because those movies fucking suck.
Don't bother. Yeah, no, those are
we'd rather waste your time with WCW 2000.
Don't you break Tim again.
No.
No, we need him next week. So yeah, the dudes with the attitude match. It was good. I mean, it wasn't like the best match in the world because you got, the coolest spot was at the beginning. So they played Sting's music and they're like, hey, where's Sting? And they go up to the rafters and Sting's in the rafters. And the lights go out. They're out, because AEW never pays their fucking electric bills because the lights are always going out. Lights come on, Sting's on top of the tunnel, and he does a crossbody to everyone in the Bullet Club. So clearly someone else was in the rafters, but it was just a cool spot to like see that, iconic stance of Sting looking down at the crowd. The match was just kind of there for me, but it was decent. It was definitely a match to kind of slow you down because at this point, the pace was at like 11. The crowd was on fire the entire night. I don't know how drunk Mark was at this point. I'll have to ask him because he was in Chicago because of course he was. Then after that, we had Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. I think got too much hate. People are saying the match wasn't good. I think it was fantastic. I think, Toni Storm really kind of showed what she could do. You can't have her win. I wanted her to win, but you can't have her win right away because it would kind of cheapen Thunder Rosa's title reign.
Did Thunder Rosa sandbag her too, or was it like an actual match?
And the thing is, her and Mina, I can never say her name, but the girl that she supposedly did against, they like have pictures and stuff all over Instagram together hanging out. So who knows if that Ring of Honor guy was just all butthurt about it and just like posting nothing. But I mean, to me, I went back and watched it. I don't see the sandbagging in it. Even in this match, she was bumping a lot for her. Like there was points where Toni Storm, you could tell it was kind of like tired, and Thunder Rosa would jump a little bit. So you could definitely tell she at least wanted to help out. So maybe, I don't know if it was in a response to, or if it was a fuck you, but I thought it was decent. It was obviously a lot better than any feud with Nyla. Because, if Toni Storm won, her next feud would have been with Nyla, because that's always how it is. And then my guaranteed match tonight, I'm not saying it because I'm biased. I'm saying it because a lot of people agree with me. Will Osprey versus Orange Cassidy. If you watch any highlights, if you find anything, you watch the highlights of this match. Fan-fucking-tastic. It really, I think, showed people who kind of doubted Orange Cassidy, he could go. And I know everybody gives him shit on his lazy sloth style gimmick. but he has to work even harder to make it look lazier. Like some of the shit he does, like the way he has to move around the ring. And they are making fun of the superhero pose. Like, I don't know if you've seen Deadpool rolling where he's like, he did a superhero landing. So Will Osprey kind of did that. And then Orange Cassidy like mimicked it. Like he went down really slow, put his fist down, smiled at him, and that pissed Will Osprey off. And then he tried like a flipping cutter, which Orange Cassidy reversed. And they had great chemistry. The crowd was red hot into it. They both defied gravity. And it was nonstop action. I don't know how it didn't get 5 stars from, Dave Alcostelser. Probably because it wasn't in the Tokyo Dome because he gave it 4.75. But I know you don't like, the Logan Paul wannabe of him, but I think you would enjoy this match. And I think it showed that people still have to take Orange Cassidy seriously. That, yeah, his gimmick may not be for everyone, but he can fucking wrestle.
So you're saying they both defied gravity, right?
Yes.
On a pay-per-view where Pac, the guy who used to be the guy who gravity forgot.
He also fucking defied gravity in this pay-per-view.
Okay, just checking. I wanted to make sure there was the man that gravity forgot, Adrian.
I may not like him because, he's a douchebag, but I'm not going to say he can't wrestle because that's just ignorant. Pac is probably one of the best wrestlers in AEW when he actually gets a shot. Like they just always throw him in fucking tag teams. I don't understand that logic. I kind of hope that he lets the Lucha Bros go do their own thing. Because Death Triangle sucks. Like separate, they're great, but I don't need Pac with the Lucha Bros. It doesn't work for me. Lucha Bros by themselves, fantastic. Pac by himself, I can handle it. Like Pac versus Kenny was fantastic.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
I'm glad you caught what I was trying to do. Then, the worst kept secret in the world, we had Zack Sabre Jr. losing to Claudio Castagnoli, a.k.a. Cesaro.
What? Not to cut you off, but one of the TikToks I sent you is about that. It's pretty funny, actually. So I asked Mongo earlier if he saw the TikToks. He hadn't yet. Well, one of those is pretty funny. Anyhow, continue.
Speaking of that, make sure you follow us on all of our socials, including the TikTok at WWPP Podcast.
Hey, I heard a rumor that even Tim's on TikTok now.
I heard that rumor too.
I mean,
don't worry, just like our socials, he doesn't post there either.
Wow.
Shots fired. I mean, the shots fired.
I'm sorry, Tim. I love you. I had to.
And on that note,
we'll show you next week for wrestling. Fuck y'all. I'm out of here.
I love you, Timothy. You know that.
Oh yeah. All right.
Hey, you know what? Don't worry. Next week, I'm sure I'll fuck up even more, and it'll be Rib on Mongo episode. So I have it coming, and I know it. Or I'm sure I'll send you a text that I spell some completely backwards.
That never happens.
No,
not every day.
All your texts make sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Here.
I'd say like a 33 and a third, but there's a 63 third and a third. That chance that.
But I'm no normal man.
But I like Roland. Speaking of that, I like Roland's post today where it was like, I hope that he starts swinging someone on Dynamite and he spins all the way to fucking Rampage.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Like they're like, literally, Tim, if you missed it, literally somebody commented and I shared it on our page that Claudio should start a swing at the end of Dynamite and they should open Rampage with him still swinging. It would be pretty funny.
Anybody else catch JR calls Claudio Cesaro a couple times?
Yep.
Taz called Ruby Soho Ruby Riot.
Ruby Riot.
That might be in that TikTok also.
I like that. I like the one that someone did too, where it was someone superimposed all the times JR and other people have like fucked up and called W like Jericho. It's Eric Rowan, Redbeard, and it just shows Excalibur correcting him, and then someone dubbed him was like, "Are you guys even fucking listening to me?"
that might be the TikTok I sent you, because he's like literally, he's like, "Are you guys even trying?" Like.
And I honestly, I know I'm going to get some heat from people on this one. I'm glad they kept JR away from the commentary desk for like 90% of this pay-per-view. And
they kept him away for half of Blood and Guts too.
Thank God.
Just so we could have the entrance of like, it's like JR comes out, he's like, like fucking clown and fucking.
It's because they just give him like a 5-hour energy IV in the back. Like, all right, we got like 3 minutes of you, JR, so go. But
he comes out like Eugene. He's like,
I mean, I know people are going to say, well, I know he's done New Japan. I know he's passionate. But the thing is, that's old Pat in the past year. JR 2019 plus does not give a fuck, does not research, does not care, doesn't know where the fuck he is. Like, yeah, I don't care what he's done in his past. He may have been in New Japan. He may have called other things besides WWF, but he doesn't care. Like you said, to the point where Kenny Omega, he thinks it's the WWF championship on AEW Raw. Like, he doesn't know. What city are we in, Tony? Like, and I know he plays off, but he literally every week his grilling with JR. I feel like every week there's go, but today it's we're sorry with JR. Like, every week. And then it wouldn't be a JR show with some random commentary like when this week's Dynamite when Tay Conti fell, he was just like, Like he just randomly made a noise. I'm like, what the fuck, creepy JR?
The two big ladies are on the floor.
And like that's my favorite feature of Botch Mania when they point out like there's one where he was just like someone was wrestling and he just goes, nope, you don't want to grab a hold of that. I'm like, what the fuck, Jay? This is what happens. Like, you know, people may shit on Vince being in their ear, but this is what happens when you don't have a producer in someone's ear saying, shut the fuck up. Seriously. Like,
Jim, wake up, you're snoring. Like, just there's a show going on here.
And then the match that I honestly think Hangman got hurt really quick in. This was the one I would probably call disappointing was the 4-way for the IWGP Championship. Jay White retains over Hangman Page, Okada, who made a surprise appearance on Dynamite the week before, and Adam Cole. Very great match, but then it ended quickly. Like Cole goes down, and then Jay White just slides in the ring and makes cover 1, 2, 3. It's over. It looked rushed. It ended quickly. The rumors and innuendo are that Adam Cole suffered a concussion in this match, and he's already been kind of banged up. So they called to end it quickly, which makes sense because him and Jay White are like best friends. So I can see him like Jay White saying, "Oh shit," and like sliding in, you know, like ending this match quickly. So honestly, like that would probably my only complaint is it sucks, and I'm not saying complain in a bad way, but like it sucked that like we didn't get the match we could have. And then we had the main event of Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Who I know Roland was worried that was going to be a bad match because Tanahashi is old. I will say it wasn't a great match because Tanahashi is old. You did call Moxley carrying him, but I feel like he at least tried. Like he wasn't like on Dynamite where he was like whiffing on everything and not trying to make contact.
That performance on Dynamite made me like literally be like, fuck this guy. Like, I don't care like who he is, who knew who he is in New Japan, whatever, but like, fuck this guy. It was like when they had the Dark Order guy like beating the shit out of fucking Dustin. He's like hitting the mat, like not even close. It's like, oh god.
Did you ever hear the story about what happened? Like what happened afterwards with that?
Maybe.
So Stu and Uno were on Jericho's podcast, I think last year, the year before, and they were kind of talking about it. So they talked about their debut, and they're like, so we had this great segment planned, and you know, we were going to go out there, we were going to get some heat, we were going to beat down the Young Bucks and Dustin, and we had these extras, you know, and we said, have you been on TV before? Yeah. And he's like, apparently that was a lie because they didn't know camera angles and everything. But I just like that Uno was just like, apparently that was a lie. Like you could tell he got some serious shit for that segment. But yeah, as soon as you said that, that's all I could think of was just him like punching the bat and Dustin like trying to sell, but he can't sell because it's not hitting him.
R.I.P. to Stu Grayson. I know he's not dead, but according to AEW, he is.
And Alan Angels is gone too. But I mean, they're letting their. But the thing is, they both got new offers and they turn them down. So you got to wonder if maybe they just want to test the waters. And with Stu, he lives in Canada. It's a pain in the ass to travel. So maybe he just wants to stay up and wrestle up there for a while.
Maybe.
But it's a shame because the Dark Order essentially is getting dismantled. And, you know, I know Uno's saying it's not going to, but I mean, all these contracts are coming up in September and October this year. You know, we already talked at the top of the show, Santana's leaving. And that's just what happens. You know, they're heading into their 4th year next year. So you have a lot of those 3-year contracts are going to be done. It makes sense not to re-sign certain people. Like you have Kip Sabian, whose whole gimmick is he's the forgotten pillar of AEW. which that really pisses me off since we're done with Forbidden Door. I want to go off on this one little Mongo tangent here for a second. Kip Sabian hasn't wrestled in the goddamn AEW ring in 14 fucking months. I know he was injured, but he's been cleared since like January. Why the fuck do you have someone that you're paying sitting in a crowd with a goddamn box on their head? I get it. It's a gimmick, and I get he's doing the whole Forgotten Pillar. But you're clearly finding him on TV. You're clearly like showing him. You had Miro come back. You had the perfect opportunity at this fucking pay-per-view for him to interfere, cost Miro a chance at this title, to set up a storyline, even if he gets his ass beat, to set up still a long-term storyline because Miro injured him when he left.
The most interesting thing about Kip Sabian is Penelope Ford. So to me, no one cares. Like Tony doesn't care. Oh, sorry that I'm calling you a no one here, but
I know.
Kip Sabian is fucking useless. They've tried different gimmicks. They've tried things. He hasn't been able to get over. Now, granted, is that just my opinion? Maybe. But, like, if he had gotten over and the crowd wanted him, he'd be out there. No one cares. No one gives a flying fuck about Kip Sabian. Like I said, the most interesting thing about Kip Sabian is Penelope Ford. Just like the most interesting thing about Joey Janela was Sonny Kiss when they were together. Joey Janela is fucking useless, too. That it's just, there's no... These guys are like indie darlings and stuff, and like they've done stuff other places, but when they get on the big, their chance, and Kip Sabian's had a chance, a couple of them, to like grab the audience, and he just can't because no one gives a shit. Now, I'm not defending Tony by not, you're paying this guy to do nothing. That's a valid point. That's 100% a valid point. You're wasting money for him to literally do nothing. Whatever. You're doing the same thing with Brian Cage. I mean, I know they're starting to tease that thing with Tully and whatever, but like, how long was Brian Cage not doing anything?
I don't. And thankfully, you guys will get a chance. You see that Ring of Honor is coming up to Mass Lowell. So July 23rd. So 2 weeks from yesterday, 3 weeks, excuse me. They're coming up to. So it's kind of cool. So not only is it another super card, another pay-per-view, but it's coming to New England, which I think is cool because Ring of Honor was huge in the East Coast for a while. New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. When they're at the height of the popularity, unfortunately, I wasn't as aware of them as I wish I was because I probably would have gone to those shows because they were like $20 to go. But I mean, to be honest, I remember when I used to hear about Ring of Honor, it was always so they shake hands in the middle of the ring because they want to not break their rules.
The code of honor,
and then you have the pure like. It was always explained the way that I was like, that doesn't sound interesting at all. And then like you look back, you're like, God damn it, I wish I just watched it, made my own opinion because it was just explained poorly. Because obviously, look who's come through there. But I think it's cool because like you said, it's at least the place to use Brian Cage because I have that feeling, like you said, Tony just doesn't want WWE to get Brian Cage, and he hasn't wrestled since the Jericho Cruise. So literally in 3 more months, it'll have been a year since he's pretty much wrestled in an actual AEW branded event. Like, what the fuck? Like, that was our biggest complaint with WWE is you're hoarding talent. You're not using people who should be used. Well, to quote Star Wars, you're becoming the thing you vowed to destroy. Like, I'm not trying to shit on AEW. I'm just saying, like we said on the podcast page, I'm sure you guys both agree with me. We want wrestling to be good and succeed, but you got to learn your lessons. You got to realize that we don't need to see the same 20 people every week. You rotate. You have such a big roster. Find what sticks. Like the show we covered earlier tonight. Find what sticks. Put the matches together. If it doesn't work, try it at house shows. Do house shows. That's the only way I like house shows because that's where you can test out the feuds, see what gets a crowd reaction. Don't just throw a bunch of shit on the wall and see what sticks. Eventually, that shit falls off the wall.
Adrenaline in my soul. Oh, what? Right.
I just tore my pec off my bone.
But yeah, I agree that that's the biggest issue that we already know AEW has is they already had a bloated roster and now they keep signing all these ex-WWE guys, which I think is a load of shit that people call like Adam Cole, ex-WWE. He was never in the WWE. I know he's NXT, but like he never made the main roster. He's not an ex-WWE guy. Brian Danielson was never in the WWE. Like I know Daniel Bryan was there. That's fine, whatever. But like
this is like
the American Dragon Brian Danielson was never in the WWE. They never let him be that person. They had him come up as a fucking nerd.
Right. I can't wait to see what Claudio does, because I know I posted that video a while ago where he's doing that like Canadian Destroyer, where he's catches him in the air and does it. Cesaro was watered down at WWE. I've always said that, and like Tim said on a WrestleMania prediction earlier this year, maybe this is when Cesaro finally gets a shot. That was the fucking running theme of Cesaro's career. This is finally the chance there's this push, it's gone. So I'm glad he's with the Blackpool Comic Club. I fucking enjoy. That's probably one of the best things they had going for them right now. The Blackpool Comic Club. It's fun. It's entertaining. And I like that they just beat the shit out of each other. And Moxley's perfect for it. He just smiles. Like, yeah, he may blade himself. Like, he bled like a stuck pig during the match. But he said something after Forbidden Door, like right when it was off air, that stuck with me. He goes, this isn't sports entertainment. This is pro wrestling. And I like that because, yes, there is a difference. Pro wrestling's more, the action is what the story is. Sports entertainment is more focused just on the story. You have to have that good balance, and AEW is capable of doing it, and they still have their growing pains, but they have to learn, and they have to grow, and they have to listen. So I'm not saying listen to every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a microphone, but I'm sure you guys can both agree. At least learn from your mistakes. Don't be TNA. Don't be AEW. Do what made you unique. Be the Revolution. Don't just try to be WWE 2.0, because that's why we stopped watching WWE.
Is that the new commentator for WWE?
Who's
Tom,
that?
Dick and Harry? Tom, Dick, and Harry?
No, it's kind of like the law firm Dewey, Screw 'em, and How.
Yeah, right.
Is that from a movie?
No, I used to have a T-shirt that said that.
I had
it's supposed to be like
paid, laid, and made on, and I got in trouble for it at the school.
me too. Evolution is a mystery. Yep, the Fock Fear, the paid, laid, made, and then I had one from Korn that said "Pop sucks," but like the word "pop" was covering a lady's butthole. I was 15 and stupid. I saw the shirt, I'm like, that's funny. Just like when you go to Spencer's, you see all those shirts, like, that's funny. And then, like our friend Mike Conway used to always wear like the most inappropriate shirts. Remember that?
Yeah.
But sorry, Linda, for the extra half an hour there.
I know. Linda's like, damn you, Mongo.
It's okay. I gave you guys permission. It's fine.
Mrs. Fulis' baby boy gave us the permission to keep going.
Well, anyways, we are going to give you our review of Money in the Bank next week. Money in the Bank actually takes place tonight. It's a Saturday pay-per-view, premium live event.
Get it right, Timothy.
I know. Man, your screw-ups are wearing off on me. Anyways.
They're contagious.
So that's what's coming for you guys next week. Then the following week, we're going to cover TNA Victory Road 2006. So that's what you can expect the next couple weeks here on our show. Like Mongo said earlier, follow us on all our socials. And we will be back next week right here with
We are live, folks.
Yeah, we're live. All right. Well,
It is 2:00 in the morning.
It's 2:00 in the morning. I don't know how we end the show.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll be back next week. Until then, I'm Tim Kerr.
I'm Rolling Fulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And this is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
Hey, do you think that Tim will actually post something this week on our Facebook page?
No, but we broke him. I hope you're all having a nice day.